Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez versus, let me get my Google effects up so I can give these guys a round of applause that they deserve. As I drop my phone, Roman Gonzalez and Carlos Cuadras, man, round of applause. Two fighters in their prime, doing what fighters in their prime, great fighters in their prime should be doing, fighting each other and leaving it all out on the line. And it was just a great fight. In my opinion, this could be seen as the fight of the year up to this point in September. Off the top of my head, it's probably the best fight I've seen so far this year. Could be leaving out a fight or two. I'm not sure. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. I'd have to look at the list. But off the top of my head, this is the best fight, action-packed fight I've seen. And to get that type of fight, and by the way, a great night of boxing, a great day of boxing altogether. Kell Brook came up big, in my opinion, and fought. He fought better than I expected. Let me put it that way. He might have let people down with them throwing in the towel early, but I didn't see that. You know, I thought he fought better than I expected. And then you had JSK Soto Carras fighting Kamagai, and they leave off with a rematch of what, I mean, it was basically round 11 from what we saw in their first fight. And you saw Kamagai really start to overwhelm him. He was shooting shorter shots in there and going to the body hard and going back upstairs, and was just too sharp for JSK tonight. However, Soto Carras, he's one of my favorites to watch because he always leaves it all out there. You just saw the pain in his eyes after the fight. He was like, I wanted to keep going. I just couldn't. I can't keep going. But you had that leading into this. It was just a great night of action fights. And that's what I've been missing, man. It's just action fights. And it takes me back to a couple of years ago when we would get, at least once a month, a night like this, with just action fights. And it was beautiful to watch. And Chocolatito, man, that guy, he's like a hurricane that's, it's I'm from the Gulf Coast, so I know all too much about hurricanes, but they start off as these tropical waves and then turn into a depression and then a tropical storm, and you just see it forming and forming. It's going to turn into something big. You just see with Chocolatito, this is turning into a Category 5 hurricane. The guy is just a whirling dervish. He's just, he's just a tornado. You just can't stop him, and it's just beautiful to watch. This guy, he just strikes me as a guy who is in his gene pool. He was just born to be a fighter. He came out of the womb in the hospital and just started throwing punches. That's what Chocolatito is to me. But Cuadras is what surprised me tonight. Carlos Cuadras, man, shouts out to that guy. Great fight by him. To have a great fight, you have to have two-way action. Okay, you can have an action-packed fight, much like we saw tonight with Kamagai versus Soto Carras. I think it's good. It's a good educational tool to you see two action-packed fights, but to have a great fight, to see a great fight, you have to have that two-way action that we didn't get in that first fight. Action-packed fight, but not a great fight because Soto Carras couldn't match what Kamagai was bringing to the table. But every time you think Chocolatito was going to take over the fight or he was having a big round, Cuadras would come right back. He would come right back. And this was only my third time seeing Cuadras fight. So I didn't really know what to expect from him coming into this. I got to plead ignorance. I don't follow 115 and 112 and 108 like I should, as much as the other divisions in boxing. However, with Chocolatito coming around up to 115, that's definitely going to change. And seeing Cuadras fight, I'm a fan of his now. I'm definitely going to be tuned into him a lot more in the future. And they said this is a guy who could have been getting nice paydays just fighting the next guy up at 115 in Mexico, but he wanted to challenge himself. He wanted to fight the pound for pound guy, and he has that like Sergio Martinez type aura about him. Not style wise as much because one's southpaw, one's conventional, but the aura about him. He's got that pretty boy type aura, and then he's got that aura that you're gonna have to take this belt from me. Right, I'm not giving you this. You're going to have to take it from me. Sort of the same fighting style to where they're both perceived to be defensive fighters, but not really. All right. Sergio Martinez was never a great defensive fighter. He showed great lateral movement, was able to get in the pocket and then sort of turn and throw shots. And Cuadras uses the same lateral movement. But he's the type of guy when he gets in the pocket, he's going to let you get your shots off, but he's throwing his shots right behind it. And he was doing that with Chocolatito tonight, where Chocolatito was getting in his shots. And I thought in the third or fourth round that what I expected coming in was going to happen, where Chocolatito was just going to wear this guy down, and towards the later rounds, Cuadras was going to wear down, and Chocolatito was going to overwhelm him. Didn't happen. It didn't happen because, as you saw late in the fourth round, at the end of the fourth round, if you go back and watch this fight, he caught Chocolatito with a nice shot to end that round. And Chocolatito felt it. They didn't mention it as they were showing the fight. But coming in the fifth round, you saw it. Chocolatito was still kind of bothered by that shot. And that was a big round, one of the best rounds of the night for Cuadras. And scorecard-wise, I had the fight 115-113 for Chocolatito. I thought it was a close fight on the scorecards because actually going into the 11th round, I had it 7-3 for Chocolatito, but I had Cuadras winning rounds 11 and 12, and the opposite of what I thought was going to happen happened. Cuadras was the one coming on late, and it could be the weight advantage. It could be that Chocolatito is stepping up in weight, and he's not only fighting a guy who has a bit of a size advantage over him, but he's also fighting a guy who he's fast too. He's not only fast, he uses lateral movement well, aerobic energy, anaerobic energy, and he can throw off combination punches, and he can also match your activity. So Cuadras just stepped up tonight, and he left it out there, but he matched. Every time he thought Chocolatito was going to take it to that next level, Cuadras would match it. And that's what makes a great fight. Cuadras just kept matching, and they go back and forth, back and forth. I thought the difference was, I actually had Cuadras winning the first and fifth round, the 11th and 12th rounds, and somewhere in between the 6 and 10, I had Cuadras running around too. But I thought Chocolatito had real strong 2 through 4, and then after that fifth round, he came on strong again after that. But it was sort of a weird fight. I would not blame somebody if somebody left a comment below saying they had Cuadras squeaking this out. I can't say that I could get mad at that, because there were close rounds in this fight. It was sort of a tough fight to score and get a handle on, because neither guy could get momentum in this fight. They were just wrestling back and forth with who would grab momentum. Just a beautiful fight in that instance. But Harold Letterman seemed to be giving each round to Chocolatito. I guess he favored the front foot style more than the lateral movement style. He kept saying Cuadras was running. I thought that was way out of line, way out of pocket. He was not running. He was not. He was using the lateral movement well. Not my type of defensive style that I like. I like guys who stay in the pocket, make you miss by an inch and counter. However, his activity was still great once he stopped with the lateral movement, and Chocolatito would catch up with him. He was throwing 5-6 punch combinations, and he was finishing off with the left hook a lot, especially in the middle rounds, or in that fifth round, I should say, and catching Chocolatito with some. I mean, he hurt Chocolatito a couple times in this fight, several times in this fight. So it was a tough fight to get a hold of. Another thing that was tough to get a hold of is Chocolatito was fighting on his front foot, really digging in, and you would think, okay, Chocolatito is the bigger puncher. However, if you look at effective punching, power punching, Cuadras seemed to be the more effective power puncher, because Chocolatito was not taking his punches as well as Cuadras was taking Chocolatito's punches. And you saw it in their face. You saw it in their actions. But Chocolatito was just Chocolatito. He was just overwhelming and overwhelming and overwhelming. He kept coming, and kept throwing punches and kept landing big punches downstairs, upstairs. But Cuadras, like I said, kept matching. But he just, to me, Quadras, what made this interesting and why I wouldn't get mad if you had the fight closer, or if you had even Quadras squeaking this out, is he seemed to be more effective with the power punches. Very effective with them. Quadras was feeling, I mean, Chocolatito was feeling those punches, slowed him down a bit at times, and that's what made this a little tough to judge at times for me too. And but getting back to Chocolatito, man, fourth title in his fourth weight class. This, if you're looking for a guy who is going to be the next Pacquiao, and it's weird to say because this guy's 46 fights in already, 46-0, 29 years old, so he's pushing 30. But there are still some boxing fans, because he's in the lower weight classes, because these guys are damn near midgets. I mean, they're jockeys. So a lot of people are turned off by that. But if you watch these guys fight, man, they're firecrackers. The stamina is incredible. And for the weight these guys are fighting at, to pack that type of power, is really incredible in its own right. But being that he's such a lower weight class fighter, you have boxing fans who are just being exposed to him, and not only casuals, but boxing fans being exposed to him. So you look at the fight tonight in the Forum, you have over 6,000 people in the Forum tonight. And like I said, it just seems like a hurricane that keeps building and building and building, and it's going to turn into something big. I mean, this guy, I think it's going to turn into something big. If you look at the guy who can be the next Pacquiao and win, go to the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th weight class and continue to win titles, this is the type of guy who can do it. It's the type of guy who can do it. They're saying he's going to fight this Japanese guy next that was ringside. What's his name? Noya Inoue. I'm probably butchering his name. I haven't seen him fight, but if he's better than Cuadras, they're saying he's ranked number 1, Cuadras is number 2. If he's better than him, oh my God. But he's only 11 fights in. So I can't imagine a guy fighting his 12th fight, 23 years old, is going to be able to deal with Chocolatito. Because what Cuadras did to be able to deal with that and deal with that pressure tonight and that power punching, and a guy fighting off his front foot like that and just continues to come forward and show you different angles and head movement. And that's the thing too. Chocolatito was using very good head movement, upper body movement early in the fight, but he kind of left it. And when he was getting hit with more shots, he left that behind and said, "Oh, okay, I'm just going balls to the wall at this point. I gotta really step this thing up." And he said this is his toughest fight, even tougher than the Estrada fight in 2012, which is saying a lot. And from what I've seen of him, it was his toughest fight. And you're looking at a guy who both of his eyes were basically shut late in the fight. So to gut through that and beat a tough Cuadras guy who did not want to give up his belts, thought he was the better fighter before the fight, and even after the fight when he stormed out of the ring, didn't even give them the belt that they won. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch. That's what I want to see, and I think Cuadras is deserving of it. He gave Chocolatito, even though Chocolatito was the bigger name, he gave him a shot at the belt at 115. So I think it was a close enough fight. Action-packed enough fight, a great fight. This is a great fight. We use the word great too much, but this was a great fight. Okay, so I thought he's deserving of a rematch. Now, whether he gets it, that's another story, because I wouldn't want to fight Cuadras again. Would you? I wouldn't want to fight that guy again. He's got a lot of bravado about him, a lot of alpha male in him. And but here's another thing I wanted to say. It was just an observation. They're fighting in LA at the Forum. It's very rare. If I was trying to think of the last time this happened, a non-Mexican fighter fighting a Mexican fighter in LA, and the non-Mexican fighter seems to have the bigger fan base there. And I have Mexican friends who follow boxing closely who were cheering for Chocolatito over Cuadras tonight. And I think that says a lot about the star power of Chocolatito that's building up. The Mexican fans are going to respect you if you fight. They tend to respect fighters who are going to leave it all on the line, like Chocolatito. I'm not going to say all Mexican fans. I'm not going to do that. But that seems to be the style they like the most. And a lot of them were cheering for Chocolatito tonight. Now, as the fight went on, you saw a sort of a shift in there to where it was more 50-50. But if you watch the fight again and you watch when these guys are being introduced, Chocolatito resoundingly had the bigger, it was probably like 70-30, had more cheers than Cuadras. And for a non-Mexican fighter fighting a Mexican fighter, I don't know what the Nicaraguan population is in LA. Maybe it's pretty big. Maybe there was a lot of Nicaraguan fans there. I don't know. But it's just an interesting observation that in a fight forum at the forum in LA where over 6,000 fans, more of the fans were cheering for Chocolatito than Cuadras, who is a Mexican draw. So it's an interesting thing, and I think it speaks to Chocolatito's strong base within the boxing population, the boxing fan population. So a lot going for this guy, a lot going for, and like I said, man, just with Chocolatito, it's all there. It's all there. It's just something that's brewing, and it continues to build. He's just a natural fighter. You know, he likes to, he can get in there and brawl, but he's a technical fighter too, and it's all natural. It's not robotic. You know, it's just not overly technical, robotic stuff. He's just moving naturally in there. The footwork is very good. He transitions from, it's not even in transition. Like the defense and offense just meshes perfectly to where he's not. You saw it with Cuadras. Cuadras can play. Cuadras he transitions from defense to offense. All right, so it's not as natural looking, which maybe that speaks to why Chocolatito got the benefit of the doubt on a lot of the scorecards in the close rounds. Is with Chocolatito, it just looks more natural all the time. With Cuadras, he's using lateral movement and he's defense at that point. And then Chocolatito hunts him down. They engage each other. Cuadras lets Chocolatito get off his 2 or 3 punches, and then he throws 5 or 6 punch combination of his own and transitions to offense. So it's one or the other with Cuadras. It's not a meshing together. It's not a, hey, I'm gonna catch this punch and throw a straight right behind it. It's not that. Not saying he's not a technical fighter. I'm just saying it's more, you can see the difference between the transition between offense and defense, whereas Chocolatito is more natural. Like I said, it's just like he came out of the womb fighting. It just seems like this dude's been fighting since he was a day old. Just all natural all the time, and it's beautiful to watch. And it's good that in boxing, where you have very few fighters who are fighting top competition, you have very few fighters who are taking risks. And today, you had fighters taking risks. You had Kell Brooks stepping up 2 weight classes to fight the baddest middleweight on the planet, one of the baddest fighters on the planet, tough puncher. You had JSK, Soto Carras against Kamagai, 2 guys who don't do any clinching, just let their hands go, fun to watch. But on the elite level, you have Chocolatito stepping up a weight class and fighting arguably the top fighter at 115, a lot of people would feel, and Carlos Cuadras. And you have a guy in Carlos Cuadras who could stay comfortable in Mexico, continue getting nice paydays for himself, fighting lesser competition, instead saying, I want to fight this pound for pound guy coming up from a weight class lower than me that y'all say I can't beat. I'm going to fight him, and I'm going to force him to try to take this title from me. A title that I've been defending. This is my 8th time defending it. And I think even before that, what is this, the WBC super flyweight? I think before that it was the silver title that he had for the WBC. So he's been defending titles for, 6-7 years at this point, with only 1 draw. So it's good to see him, a champion, say, look, you're another champion at 112. You're supposedly the pound for pound champion. Let's do this. Champion versus champion. Let's fight each other. And it's good to see in a world, in a sport where guys aren't testing each other. Guys aren't testing themselves. Guys just want to take the easy road and make big paydays and be comfortable and not even attempt to be the best. it's good to see guys, the best fighting the best, and guys stepping up and rising to the occasion like they did tonight. And it was just fun to watch. Chocolatito would step it up. Chocolatito would go in fourth gear. Cuadras would match his fourth gear, and then Gonzalez would go to fifth gear. Cuadras would match his fifth gear, and then they would go to gears that you didn't even think they had. Just fun fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing Cuadras, what he does too. Looking forward to that, and I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch. I don't think it'll happen. I think Chocolatito will say, "No, I want to do something else," and I can't blame him after that. But I think a rematch is warranted. But if he wants to fight this Japanese cat at 115 too, before he steps up to 118, and look, this is a different age in boxing than it was decades ago. You have weight classes 3 to 4 pounds away from each other. Or you got 105, 108, 112, 115 here, and then 118 would be next, and then 122, 126. When you have weight classes that close to each other, and I understand that the lower weight classes, it's a little tougher to step up in weight from like 115 to 122. A 7-pound difference in a lower weight class is more than a 7-pound. It's more than stepping from 140 to 147, just percentage wise. But he seems like the type of dude who can do it, who can fill those weights, and has a style to do it as well. And I think he should. I think he should try to get eight championships in 8 weight classes, and he has a lot of time to do it. He seems to be in his prime. So, and you got 2 fighters in their primes fighting each other. It was just a great night of boxing altogether. Great. No complaints from me. No complaints here. And I still have to watch the Easter Junior fight from last night. I heard that was a good fight. So props to them as well. Just a good weekend. Besides Danny Jacobs versus Sergio Mora, which was a dud, which everybody expected. Good night, good weekend of boxing. No complaints from me. If I can get this every weekend, or at least every other weekend, I'd be happy. I'd be happy. So give me more of this. Give me more of the best fighting the best. If not the best fighting the best, give me fights like Soto Karass versus Kamagai. Just good, interesting matchups. You know, or the Easter Junior fight last night. Just good, interesting, even matchups, even if they're not on the elite level. Just keep giving me that. Good matchmaking. I'm just asking for good matchmaking, good fights, and we got that this weekend. So once again, props to the 2 Warriors. Yeah. Once again. Chocolatito Gonzalez, man, he seems to be a great one. He seems to be a great one, and looking forward to what this guy has in store for us the next 3, 4, 5 years in the sport of boxing, because it's going to be one hell of a ride. And Carlos Cuadras, man, thanks for stepping that up, and thanks for matching everything Chocolatito had tonight. I had a 115, 113. I thought, once again, I thought Cuadras won first, 5th, 11th, and 12th, and somewhere in between there. I don't remember which round it was. I thought he won one of those rounds too, and I thought it was a close fight. Had no problems with the scorecards because, like I said, it was a tough fight to score. So if you had 9-3 Chocolatito, I understand it. And if you had it even closer, or if you had Cuadras edging it out, who the hell am I to judge? Because, like I said, it was a tough fight to score. So it's a fun night of boxing. No complaints here. So y'all hit me up. Let me know what y'all think. How'd y'all score the fight? Who'd y'all have winning? Where do you see Chocolatito going from here? And where do you see Cuadras going from here? Y'all hit me up, man. Peace. God bless.